Hello, I'm Dan, creator of Get Out Alive. I'm going to add a new section to the videos I'm doing, and part of this new section is going to be cleaning your firearm and keeping it ready. Okay, keeping it ready in case you need it. One of the things that I was taught years ago, a dirty weapon or gun, in this case, will never save your life. If it jams when you need it, it doesn't matter how good you are at clearing it. You only have a few seconds, and that might be the last seconds that you have. So we want to try to avoid that right now up front. So some things you need to know. I've already disassembled this Glock 22. It's a .40 caliber, and I have the barrel out, as you can see. The return spring, I have it out. The slide off, okay. Then I have the lower receiver portion here, which houses the trigger assembly. We're not going to take that out because it's not necessary. If you have a problem with your trigger assembly, my suggestion would be that you find someone who is better trained than myself at removing that trigger assembly. There's some small parts in there that if you lose them, it's game over. So until such time as I myself am thoroughly trained in that, I am not going to be disassembling that weapon. The other gun I have here, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I've already pre-cleared these weapons, but just for safety's sake, all right, I'll show you. This weapon is clear, and what you need to do at home, if you're doing this at home, you need to lock this weapon open with a slide lock or yours. Lock it open, look inside, put your finger in there. Inside that chamber, there's nothing there, okay? The magazine well right here should be clear, and I can see the camera through here, okay? It's clear. I know it's clear. Then close the slide, and here in a moment we'll take this gun down. This is a Ruger SR9. Alright, one of the first things I want to tell you is get you some gloves. You can go to AutoZone. I use the extra large or large gloves anyway. Get you some gloves because you're going to be dealing with solvent. Obviously you're going to be dealing with lead. Alright, so you want to try and keep that off of you as much as you can. Hand washing is also a good idea, but if you're like me and you have a problem with dry skin anyway, and winter coming on is not going to help that. And so you put these gloves on, and of course, yeah, I'm going to clean my hands anyway, but the idea is to avoid getting any of the solvent or lead deposits on you if you can. I have here a universal handgun cleaning kit from USCCA. Alright, if you haven't ever thought about USCCA, you need to think about that outstanding company. You definitely want to get on board with them, okay? You want to do that. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. We'll save further comments on that for later on. Alright, you want to select the appropriate bore brush for your gun. The smallest one here is for a 22 or even for an AR-15. Alright, but remember this is a handgun cleaning kit. The next one is for a 9mm, which is going to be one of the guns that we're going to clean today. The first one is for a .40 caliber or .45. It will work in a .45, it may be a little loose, but for a .40 caliber. And there is a difference. You take your rod, extension rod, put it together. There's another one, go ahead and put that together. Alright, they screw together very easily. If they're tight going together, then you've got something cross-threaded, you want to back off of that. okay, and redo it. And then you have your handle, which has 2 brass ends for different sizes. Okay, this one here is for a driver on this end. This end is for the attachment to here. And then you have your Phillips head screw, screws there, a flathead screw, and it looks like you have a T27 torque bit screw head right there, or bit, screw bit. Those are for Torx head screws, and those are really good. I like them better than flathead or Phillips, either one. They stand up to a lot more punishment. But I have as yet to see one on a handgun, but there are some that do have them. Alright, with this assembled and pointing away from you, alright, you want to push this bore brush through the barrel, alright, and then pull it back, alright, and you push it through again, and you can turn it, alright, because you want to get all the lead deposits out of that barrel that you can, and make sure it's clear. And then once you have done this a few times, you can hold it up and look down through that barrel in the light, and you should see a very nice, clean, shiny barrel inside. That's important. That way you know that there are no contaminants in this barrel that would stand to foul the barrel or impede the performance of the bullet going down through the barrel. Okay? So we don't want that. Alright, set that aside. You should have some Hops number 9. Alright? And this is some of the best cleaner. Let me turn it around where you can get a look at that. Okay, that's Hops number 9. And it is a synthetic blend of solvent. It's really, really good stuff to use to clean your gun, and you're going to find it quite helpful. You have tools in your gun cleaning kit, so you don't need to get a knife. Alright? In this one cleaning kit that I have here that was designed with AR-15 in mind, it has a pick. Okay, it looks like something the dentist would use. It's that's a medieval tool there. You can poke that and capture this seal and take it out of there and set that off to the side. Get the remaining portion off because you don't want that in your gun. Alright, then on your cleaning rod, you take and unscrew the bore brush that you just had. Place it there in that lid, just place it in there, it'll be alright. Now this is going to be for your patch. It's an elongated rod here with a slip notch in there. Okay? And that is for loading your cleaning patch onto this cleaning rod. You want to make sure you have plenty of patches on hand. Okay? You can buy these at Walmart or most gun stores. You know, it doesn't hurt to have 2 or 3 packs of these, because if you're like me, if you keep your guns clean and you practice, and you do any practicing at all, which you should, keep your gun clean every time after you practice. And I know it's a pain in the butt, but keep your gun clean, and as long as you take care of your gun will take care of you should you ever need it. God forbid that you do. Okay? You want to dip that down in the solvent. Alright? Now what I do, I've got gloves on, so I'll come up here and I'll kind of pinch this a little bit and push some of that solvent on further down across the end of this. So I have solvent on both ends. Okay? Now I've cleaned my barrel with a bore brush. That was important. So I've got that out of there. Now I want to go through there with this patch and clean that. And you see that comes out pretty dirty. Alright, because there's obviously still contaminants left in there. So go back and forth, swab it out real good, clean it, let this solvent do its job. Kind of like mopping a floor, just go back and forth through there and clean that out real good. And you see that that patch has turned a dark color because it got the other deposits that were in there that the bore brush could not get out. You might want to have your trash can handy so you can just go ahead and get rid of those instead of piling them up. Sometimes I will have some of those blue paper towels that you can buy from AutoZone and have them up here laying on the table so I can put these used patches on it. But I didn't lay any out today, but I do have my trash can over here where I can easily get rid of them. So now I'm going to go through here and I'm going to swab this solvent out of here, okay? And I'm going to do this and do it back and forth here a couple of times, and I'm going to get rid of this one because it's already dark, and so I'm going to get another one. And I'm going to do this one more time, and that may seem, you know, a little much to some of you, but you know, I want my gun to be at the peak operating performance that it can be, okay? And so I'm going to do this a few times and make sure that this barrel is cleaned, okay? And I want to be certain of this because it's my hind end that's on the line. And truth be known, it's not just your hind end that's on the line, it's going to be those who are around you also. Now this last patch, there was only a little bit of dirt on there, not much, but what I'm going to do, you see I folded this over to a nice little strip, and the portion I was using in the barrel, I folded it into itself because I have another use for this patch before I get rid of it. Now I'm just going to dip it in there and I'm just going to get a little bit of solvent on it. I'm going to press that down so it goes to the other end. Open that up just a little bit there. And I'm going to clean the opening area here of this chamber, of this breech, okay? And make sure that I have any and all deposits off of there. I'm going to clean the barrel, the recess where the return spring sits, I'm going to clean that, okay? I'm going to clean that whole piece right there of that breech. That's the built up portion of the barrel. You see how heavy that looks. A nice big square block of metal. That's done that way to a couple of reasons. One, primarily is because when you discharge that round, that has to be strong enough to put up with the violent reaction of expansion that you're going to have in that casing. You wouldn't want that thing to blow up in your face. That's another reason why we're cleaning this so meticulously, so as to get rid of any and all contaminants. And then I'm going to just clean the edge end of the barrel. Alright, and I am done with that. Now, I can take one more patch, alright, and go over this and dry it off, dry some of that solvent off of there, because before I put it back together, I am going to oil the outside of this barrel. Understand, I said the outside. You never, ever, ever put oil inside the barrel. Don't do that. That's a romper room no-no. Don't do that, okay? Because what you're going to do now is you're going to ring the barrel. When you discharge the gun and there's a film of oil in there, that bullet will push that oil up into a big bunch there, and it's going to cause a ring around this barrel if you're lucky. And what it's going to do is it's going to ruin the barrel, and you'll lose your pressure on that bullet for any further subsequent discharges of ammunition in there. The worst thing could happen is the barrel would blow up in your face. You might lose a finger, you might lose a hand. Something to think about. So no oil ever inside the barrel. Keep it out. Ixnay. Alright, now, having said all that, I'm going to take me another patch here. I'm going to fold it over half in two. Okay? And I'm going to stick it back through this slot, just like I did before, if I can get it to cooperate with me. I'm going to pull it through. Okay? Now I'm going to dip it back down in my solvent again, just like I did before. And I didn't quite get there. There we go. Now I did. Now I'm going to roll it over, and I'm going to do what I did a minute ago. I'm going to pinch this up here just a little bit and push this solvent to the other side. And it'll go to the other side, and there it is, it's damp. Now I'm going to pick my slide up, and I'm going to hold my slide from the back end. You see the serrations on the side here. That's so you get a grip on it. Now I'm going to go through where the barrel goes through, the barrel guide, and I'm going to swab the interior portion of this slide around where the barrel goes through. And then I'm going to come inside and do the same thing, all the while rotating this so that the patch goes around my cleaning rod here and gives me a nice type of mop right there, if you will. And do the same thing back here just so I can get the heavy stuff off. So I'm going to come back with some Q-tips, and there's something I got to tell you about the Q-tips, okay? And that is, you know, my girlfriend thought this was funny as heck, and I let it out that I had picked these Q-tips up on the beauty aisle in Walmart, and because they were perfect for cleaning a gun. And what I'm going to show you here, this pink Q-tip, and only real men use pink, okay? The end of that is very sharp, okay? Nice and pointed. That's important. I'm going to stick that pointed portion down into the solvent, okay? And I got it. Now the guide rails on this gun right here, where your slide goes back and forth, that's a perfect trap for lint, sand, dust, grit, whatever that you can't see, and especially after you have fired this gun a few times. And if you pay attention when you put the gun back together, you're going to see me oil these points because they need lubrication to work. You don't want to wear the gun down, and you see the end of that Q-tip is almost black. Okay, so that's why I use these pointed pink Q-tips. Women use these for putting on makeup, some of them. So you know, she thought that was funny, and so I mean, I guess gotta say, she was very thoughtful, and I have to say she really was very thoughtful. She went to Walmart to find me something more appropriate, and she found me a pink box of Q-tips. However, the Q-tips that were in there looked like camouflage stems there, but it turned out they were leopard print, and we laughed for quite a while over that. We did, and had a good time. Okay, so that was funny as heck, boy. I tell you what, yeah, I'm gonna have to work, guys, to make that right. You know that, right? So you know, I'm gonna have to be watching and listening, you know, for whatever I can find here that's you know, I can use to kind of square this up, you know. It may take me the next 20 years, but I'll figure it out. And I don't care who you are, that's funny. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking this nice pink Q-tip, and I am cleaning the interior portions of the gun in and around the firing mechanisms and the locking mechanisms and all those isms in there, and just nice, clean, you know, twist it around in there a little bit, and you know, you see it's still coming out black because when you pull the trigger on this gun, you may think that all the smoke and everything goes out the end. That's not true. You have plenty of it come out through the top of the breech here, and as such, as it comes back, that smoke, because what's pushing the slide back is the pressure off of that round, and it happens so fast that plenty of that comes back, and burned and unburned gunpowder gets lodged in here, and it doesn't just leave the smoke in there. Some of that's grit, and it leaves some of that in there. Again, like I said, if you're carrying this gun in a holster on your hip or in your purse or whatever, you can't prevent grit from getting down in there. It's gonna get in there. It's just, ladies, gentlemen, if you are like me, I'm the chief cook and bottle washer here, so that means I also do the floors and windows and everything else, and I haven't done the windows yet, but I do everything else. And you know, just like you get grit on the floor, grit's gonna get in here. So don't let it fool you. That is a big issue with your gun, and cleaning your gun and keeping it clean, okay, and keeping it operating smoothly and accurately, and you know, prevent any possibility of this thing not working when you need it, because when you need it, it's too late to say, oh gee, let me clean my gun. That's not going to work, okay? That's like Barney used to carry his gun, his bullet in his pocket, you know. Gee, let me get my bullet. And the BGs, you know, the bad guys, they're going to look at you and say, good luck with that, okay? That's just like somebody carrying a gun without a round in the chamber. That is absolutely not going to work. You are not going to have the type of time needed to put a round in the chamber before you discharge the weapon. When someone's firing at you, you might as well throw it at them. You're not going to have that opportunity, okay? I'm just telling you. So if you're carrying a gun that does not have a round in the chamber, then go to the range and practice until you get proficient and confident with that weapon enough that you can keep a round in the chamber, because you should already know, without me telling you, if you pick this gun up, this is where your finger goes. It doesn't go here automatically, it goes here. This does what you call indexing. You keep that finger away from that trigger until you're ready to destroy whatever you're pointing at. It's that simple, okay? Now, I'm going to get some more patches out here, and because you know, I use these things quick, and I'm not bashful about doing it because I can get some more, and cleaning this gun is important. So I'm going to get I'm going to double this patch over, alright, and I'm not going to dip the patch in the solvent, but my return spring I am, and I'm going to get it in there, work it around a little bit, and I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing again, and any debris that's on that return spring I've just rinsed off, and it'd be okay. It's not going to matter in that solvent. It'll go straight to the bottom. I've never had a problem with doing that, and it's never ruined my solvent. And like I say, I don't have a problem, you know, any ill after effects of doing that. Now, I have moistened those up pretty good. I'm going to get one more here and go over it again, if I can get one to cooperate, and go through there and do this. And then I'm going to wrap it up in there, and I'm going to lay it down and let it dry just a little bit. Now, I will put some oil on that return spring before I put it back in the gun. At this point, I'm just about ready. I do want to do some more cleaning on my slide here, and then when I get done, I will oil specific areas, locations in this slide. What I haven't done is I have not cleaned this slide area. And I just ran my thumbnail through there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it picked up, you know, trash there. So I'm going to get me another pink Q-tip. And I'm going to go down through that slide right there, and I know you can see that. That right there was nasty. Okay? That's that dirt and grit that's going back and forth on your slide guides right there. Okay, your rail guides. And that's just like putting sandpaper on your car and running it down through there and pretending that you're not going to create a crevice, because you will. And when you do that, if you allow that to happen with this gun, you see it's still like that. If you allow that to happen, then what you're going to do is you're going to wind up inevitably causing the aim on this gun to be severely off. And you can go buy another slide and start over again. Now anybody can argue that if they want to, that's fine. And please do, because here's the skinny on that. And I'll just show you, okay? One of the first things I do when I go to put this back together is I put the barrel down in there. And then I put the return spring in it, okay? If these rails are wore out where this moves any at all, then the gun's gonna be off. So go argue with somebody else, okay? And when you do learn something, come back. All right. So anyway, do that until you come out with one that's clean, and this is not clean yet. So we're going to waste quite a few pink Q-tips here getting this clean, and that's okay, because that's, you know, we're sacrificing a pink Q-tip for this, and that's all right, because it's better to sacrifice a Q-tip than us, right? So as you can see, I use quite a few pink Q-tips. I love it. That's funny. I don't care who you are. So, yeah, and you're going to go through this every time you clean your gun. I don't care if you just cleaned it 2 days ago. If you go out and you fire it and you come back, you're going to find out that this gun is filthy. And this is from me firing this gun. And I don't just fire 1 or 2 rounds. I might fire as many as 100 rounds through it. And it's necessary to do that in order to at least get proficient with the gun. And the more often you do that, and the more ammunition you fire through it, the better off you're going to be. So keep that in mind. Now we finally got a clean Q-tip coming out of there, except I went to other places too. But so keep that in mind. Getting to the range and firing is as important as studying for a class. Okay? If you don't study, you don't pass. If you don't practice, you don't survive. So, you know, survival is a big thing. I know ammunition's expensive now. I understand that. It's part of what's going on in this country right now. But if you'll go to ammoman.com, or if you'll go to Cheaper Than Dirt, or ammo.com, you'll find that you can buy bulk ammunition, and some of it's expensive. Now I'm not kidding, you get 500 rounds for about $300. But I know that's a lot, and you're thinking, gee, 500 rounds, I'll never fire all that. If you go to the range twice a month, you will find out that you're going to have to buy more ammunition if you fire 100 rounds each trip. And if you're firing less than 100 rounds, then you're cheating yourself. You need to be as proficient with this weapon as possible. And we will go over more of that as time goes on. And I will present you disciplines